And hello, horror fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Zone TV Movie Entertainment. With me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and movie review for the brand new Danny Boyle film, 28 Years Later. That's right, it is officially back. The great, probably one of the best zombie films ever made in zombie history. So, this movie stars, obviously, it stars Harry Taylor Johnson and I keep forgetting the actress name. I'm gonna look it up in give me a second. And I apologize. I should know this, but I just forget. So many. Yeah, let's see. It's Jodie Coleman. I apologize. And of course, Ray Fiennes is also in this movie as well. And we have newcomer Eddie Redden. Probably butchered that. I apologize. So 28 years later. You know, honestly, I completely forgot about this movie. The first one I really liked. You know, back then, before I even knew who the heck Cillian Murphy was, before he became an Oscar winner, one of the coolest actors out there, before he was Scarecrow, he was just an actor. He was in the first one. I don't remember. I can't remember if he was in the second one. I don't remember. And then, of course, the second one gave us a young Jeremy Renner. So there's that. You know, so, and it tells a story of people getting infected, becoming zombies, and taking over not the world, but mostly England and Scotland kind of places, you know. So this movie takes place in I believe Scotland, and gets infected, obviously, and you see the infected happen, and then it jumps right into the modern day of 28 years later. You got a small community living outside of the mainlands, and there's a bridge that can go to the mainland, but the only way you can get onto that bridge if the tide is down. You know, the tide comes up, the bridge is gone. The tide goes down, you can see the bridge, you can walk it, but you got a certain amount of time before the next tide comes in and takes it down, and you can't get to safety. That's the only way to cut off the infection from the people who actually survive. And they got their own community. They got, you know, they build arrows, weaponry. They have food. They have water. They have their little homes. They live in a nice, nice area. So they're fine. Until one day you have Aaron Taylor Johnson. He decides, I'm going to take my son out hunting. Basically out into the mainlands so he can learn to trade. That way one day he grows up and he can be the one to teach his kids, and then they can continue on the legacy. So you get a real bonding experience in this movie. And you know, they go to the mainlands and they see some infected, or zombies as they call them. Some call them zombies, some just call them infected. And you got these big predator ones there. They're kind of like the alpha ones, and they're like the big strong zombies, you know, like the big strong ones, the fast ones, you know, the ones that can take all the most damage. And they're not, you know, they're not using guns, they're using arrows to try to stop them as much as they can. And you see him and, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson and this kid. They go there, they, you know, they do what they got to do, they go back. And you know, you have the kid's mom, you know, Aaron Taylor Johnson's wife in the movie. She's sick. They don't know what's wrong with her. She's sick, but the kid decides, you know what? I hear that there's a doctor on the mainlands. Nobody's seen him in years. Everybody thinks maybe it's a hoax, or, you know, an illusion or whatever. Or he's a crazy old man who's just trying to survive over there because he's nuts and he's living over there anyway. So he decides, I'm going to go over there and try to get my mom some help. So that's basically the gist of what this story really is. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. You know, he goes there, he tries to find this doctor and see if he can help his mom. That's basically what this whole story is. I like this movie. This movie to me is very different from what I was thinking this movie was going to be. Now, I haven't seen 28 Days Later in like years. So I completely forgot about certain things. I'm pretty sure there's certain lore in here that they may have changed, but I just forgot. Because honestly, I haven't seen the movie in forever. And honestly, I can't find it anywhere. If you know where I can find it, where I can, well, I can't watch that thing anywhere. I don't know what happened. I don't know if it's not any of the streaming things. I can't buy it on digital either. So, and if it pops on TV, still. Anyway, I really like this movie. This movie is very different from all the zombie films. First of all, the zombie stuff was great. I really did like the zombie stuff, but it's not a lot of it. Just gotta let you guys know that not a lot of the zombie kills. Like, you're gonna see a whole bunch of guys with guns and shooting that stuff, and you're not gonna see a lot of that. This movie's more of about a, and I hated using this word when it came out of the movie, but it kind of had a coming age story in a way. You have this kid who's living in a secluded area with his family, and the world's basically shut down. Their part of the world is shut down. He's never seen it, and he has to go out there with his dad to learn how to be a hunter and learn how to survive and learn how to take care of the family and protect the town and they're living in. And you see that him, and you see this kid. He's just, at first you're like, this kid's gonna, he's scared. He's gonna, shake and do something stupid and get himself killed. This kid really stood up and became like a megastar in this movie. I think he's literally the main lead in this movie. I'm just letting you know that right now. And he was awesome. And I loved every moment he was on screen. This kid went from being just like a kid to being a man, and he literally woke up when he saw that world for the first time. And you see it too. When you see this movie, you see him see the world for the first time. Something changed in him. Yes, he was scared. There were some moments where he was scared, but then he realized he had to fix that problem for himself so he can survive. And when you see this movie, you're going to see what he does in this movie. It's kind of like, wow. So I thought that stuff was great. Ray Fiennes, when he shows up in this movie, he's awesome. So, there's that. So Lord Voldemort kicks butt. So there's that. The stuff with him and the kid and his mom, that stuff was great too. She's an awesome character. Judy was fantastic playing the character. She was great. When Aaron Taylor Johnson was on screen as the father, I wanted more. That's really my negative about this movie. That he's not in the movie as much. When he's in the movie, he's awesome. But when he's not there, I'm like, oh man, I want to see more about him. He was so cool. He's just a father, just trying to trying to teach his son and trying to be there for him. But he's also kind of a man. He's got to deal his own things, and his wife is sick, and he doesn't know how to deal with that. And he does kind of stupid things in this movie. You'll see what I'm talking about. And there's a scene in here that I didn't like. Like, the setup, I didn't like. I didn't like the setup for it because the scene was cool overall. And this is in the trailer, so it's not much of a spoiler. There's a moment in the trailer where you see soldiers with guns show up out of nowhere. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, that's cool that there's soldiers there. And, they give you kind of a little backstory of what happened to the rest of the soldiers. And I'm like, what, like, I feel like this is the same problem for all zombie films. I think Walking Dead did it perfectly. When you have guns, it makes a lot of noise, And then you just start seeing zombies just start popping up and out of nowhere and attacking, Like, if zombies were in real life right now, I don't think I'd use a gun. I'll just be using a sword or a knife or something to try to survive as much as I can. That way, I don't get a whole bunch of freaking creatures coming after me, eating each piece of my flesh, And every time, every time I watch zombie movies, I'm like, what are guns going to do to zombies? If you not shoot them in the head, you're just going to attract more zombies to you. So, whatever. But whatever. The soldiers were stupid anyway, so whatever. And then the ending of this movie was very odd to me. In a way that because I swore I thought this movie was going to be completely different from what I saw from the beginning of the movie. Now, in the beginning of the movie, now this is in the trailer also, you see a bunch of kids just watching TV, right? That sets up the 28 years later situation. But then it kind of like gets you guessing, like, oh, something happens from that moment on that leads into this island that these people are living in. I'm like, okay, that makes sense. But then when you get to the end, and you're like, whoa, 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 whoa! I thought that part was part of the island, not part of this. When you see you see what I'm talking about. You're gonna notice it. I'm telling you right now. I honestly thought that one key element from the beginning sets up the whole movie, from the part where we got to the to Rachel Johnson's character all the way to his son, and then when we get to the end, I'm like, I thought that part supposed to help out to be the main movie, and honestly, I was just like, wow. And the scene itself was a little goofy in my opinion. I'm watching it, I'm like, what is this? And you're gonna see it. All I'm gonna say is Hot Topic. When you see that, I'm like, yeah, that was just wow. I'm telling you, it felt like Hot Topic met Twilight. When you watch the movie, that ending, you're gonna know what I'm talking about. It just felt it was cool to see, but I'm like, cause it didn't it kind of didn't match what you got from the rest of the movie. It just felt like they took another part of the movie, and it feels like, and I know they're making another one. It feels like they're changing the tone of the film for the next one. I could be completely wrong, but still, very, very weird. Either way, this movie's fun. I enjoyed it. Like I said, don't expect thinking that this is all zombies. Zombies are in this movie. There's a lot of zombies in here. I'm not saying there's not a lot of it. There's some gore stuff in here too, which is awesome. But it's not just a zombie film. This is more of a study of what do you do in situations like this? How do you adapt to your new environment, kind of a situation? This movie has depth. This movie has, kind of a coming age for the kid. See, I'm telling you, that kid is a megastar in this movie, and I applaud him the most. And also, congratulations to David Boyle for creating this movie, because this movie was beautifully, beautifully made, and I loved it. Every single frame of this movie, I was like in gore with it, because it felt like if he kind of used the old footage from the original movie, like the way that movie was set up in I think it was 2002. I could be wrong. Do you remember that old movie, the original movie, the 28 Days Later, and how that movie was shot? Add in technology today, oh, it's beautiful. It was just wow. I swear I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I wanted to. Even though it felt like a completely different movie than I thought it was going to be, it was just so much fun to watch, and I had a blast watching this. And now I want to go back and watch the other two again, because honestly, I'm more excited now for the next one, because the next one I think comes out next year. So yeah. So congratulations to everybody involved in this film. This movie is awesome. Go check it out. And there you go. So leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. Oh, by the way, there is no after credit. Just letting you guys know that. I honestly thought there'd be like an after credit or a teaser for the next movie. Nothing like that. So just letting you guys know that right off the bat. So leave me a comment below. Let me know. Stay tuned for more. Thank you very much. And have a good night.